Dear friends, I am Professor Satish Prakash S. Shukla. I welcome you all again to this YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about 20 MCQs with their answers which are based on learner and learning process, that is part of educational psychology. Question number 1 to 20 with their answers are discussed in this video. This is first video of educational psychology. Let us start with first question. Question number 1. Who said we are born capable of learning? Option 1, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Number 2, Jean Piaget. Number 3, Noam Chomsky. Number 4, Ivan P. Pavlov. So correct response is option number 1. Jean-Jacques Rousseau has given this statement. He said this. Jean Piaget has given cognitive development theory. Noam Chomsky has given theory of language development, and Ivan Pavlov has given classical conditioning theory. Question number 2. Skinner's best known apparatus is the teaching machine. Invented by whom? Let us see. Sidney Presley, number 1. 2. Thorndike, number 3. Watson, number 4. James. So teaching machine was invented by Sidney Presley. Option number 1 is correct. Thorndike has developed a trial and error theory of learning. Watson belongs to behaviorism, and James belongs to functionalism. Question 3. Operant conditioning is associated with, let us see the options. Piaget, number 2 Pavlov, number 3 Kohler, number 4 Skinner. About Piaget and Pavlov we have discussed earlier. Kohler was associated with Gestalt psychology, and Skinner has given operant conditioning theory. So correct response is option number 4, Skinner. Question number 4. Food in classical conditioning is called, let us see, unconditioned response, conditioned response, unconditioned stimulus, conditioned stimulus. So food has an ability to produce saliva in the mouth of the organism in classical conditioning. So it is not a response. So option number 1 and 2 are incorrect. And without any kind of association with any other stimulus, food alone can produce the stimulus, the saliva in the mouth of the organism. So it is unconditioned stimulus. Option number 3 is correct. Question 5. What is Bell in Pavlov's classical conditioning? Bell. Number 1, you see as unconditioned stimulus. Number 2, unconditioned response. Number 3, conditioned stimulus. Number 4, conditioned response. Bell acquires ability of producing saliva in the mouth of the organism by being associated with food. So it is conditioned stimulus. It is not response. Question 6. Which operant tactic weakens behavior? Option number 1, positive and negative punishment. Number 2, positive and negative reinforcement. Number 3, positive and negative incentive. Number 3, none of these. The operant technique that can weaken behavior is punishment, whether it is positive or negative. So option number 1 is correct, positive and negative punishment. Number 7, a dash is a brief involuntary reaction to some stimulus, typically of the specific part of the body. Involuntary reaction means automatic reaction that occurs by seeing some particular stimulus. What it is called? Response, number 1. Number 2, reflex. Number 3, reflection. Number 4, none of the above. Any kind of automatic reaction to any particular stimulus is called reflex. Option 2 is correct. Question 8. A pigeon is trained to peck at green light. Now it pecks at all lightest spots. It is a case of, see here, green light is stimulus, lightest spot is also stimulus, some similarity is there. So pigeon starts pecking at any lightest spots. What? Because what? Let us see. Number 1, stimulus generalization, response generalization, generalization gradient, Discrimination. This is the case of generalization of stimuli. Stimulus generalization is correct response, option number 1. Question 9. In social learning theory, an instance in which the correct response appears on the first trial is called social learning theory. It takes place in social setup. It is called 1. Not trial learning. Number 2. Simple trial learning. Number 3. 1 trial learning. Number 4. No learning. Here it is said that an instance in which the correct response appears on the first trial. Before that, any trial is not done. At the first trial only the correct response will come. It means it is no trial learning. Simple trial learning is nothing. 1 trial learning is different concept that was given by Guthrie. And number 4 is also incorrect because here some learning happens, no learning is not there. Question 10. Operant conditioning is also called, let us see, instrumental conditioning. Number 2, avoidance conditioning. Number 3, classical conditioning. Number 4, simple conditioning. So friends, the other name of operant conditioning is instrumental conditioning. Option number 1 is correct. Question 11. The structure of the brain, which is involved in balance and coordination and plays a key role in the formation of simple form of classically conditioned responses, what it is called? The structure of the brain that is involved in balance and coordination and plays a key role in the formation of simple form of classically conditioned response. Number 1, option cerebellum. Number 2, thalamus. Number 3, hypothalamus. Number 4, limbic system. So correct response is cerebellum. Option 1. It is responsible for balance and coordination. Question 12. Name the process in which a conditioned stimulus gradually ceases to elicit a conditioned response. It means conditioned stimulus gradually stops producing a conditioned response. What it is called? The process in which it happens. Number 1, extension. Number 2, discrimination. Number 3, classical conditioning. Number 4, escape conditioning. This process is called extension. Option 1 is correct. In which the organism stops giving response, conditioned response to conditioned stimulus. Option 1 is correct. Question 13. When a behavior occurs consistently in the presence of a discriminative stimulus, it is said to be under, means same kind of the behavior occurs consistently, whether different kind of stimulus are produced before him, presented before him, but the behavior of the organism is not changed. What it is called? Option number 1, stimulus control. Number 2, extension. Number 3, delayed process. Number 4, classical conditioned process. Here it is called stimulus control because whatever the organism wants to do, he does in the presence of different kind of stimulus. So it is stimulus control. Question number 14. The acquisition of new forms of behavior, information or concepts through exposure is called slow learning. Number 2, conditioning learning. Number 3, operant conditioning. Number 4, observational learning. Acquisition of new forms of behavior, information or concept by what? Through exposure, and exposure is done in social setup, and in social setup organism observes somebody and behaves like that, and for that he has to observe that particular person, so it is called observational learning. Question number 15. The term classical means Let us see the option. In the established manner. Number 2, well planned. Number 3, planned manner. Number 4, without planning. So the term classical means option number 1, in the established manner. Question number 16. In Pavlov's experiments, as the experiments progressed, the sight of the bowl, the sight of the experimenter, and eventually even the sound of experimenter's footsteps produced salivation. Pavlov called these learned reaction as by seeing the bowl, by seeing the experimenter, or by hearing the sound of experimenter's footstep, saliva generates in the mouth of the organism. What this process is called in Pavlov's classical conditioning theory. Pavlov initially, what did he say about this? Let us see. Option number 1, natural reaction. Number 2, physics secretion. Number 3, neutral reaction. Number 4, unnatural reaction. Friends, Pavlov defined it as physics secretion, salivation, by seeing the bowl, sight of the experimenter, and by hearing the sound of experimenter's footstep. It was defined by Pavlov initially as physics secretion. So option number 2 is correct. 17. The classical conditioning has been described as number 1, stimulus substitution. Number 2, unlearned behavior. Number 3, neutral. Number 4, response behavior. So we know in the classical conditioning, conditioned stimulus is put in place of unconditioned response. Unconditioned stimulus. It means stimulus substitution is there. So option number 1 is correct. Stimulus substitution. Question 18. Habit inference is also known as positive transfer. Number 2, negative transfer. Number 3, bilateral transfer. Number 4, none of the above. So friends, here habit inference is also known as bilateral transfer. Option number 3 is correct. Question 19. Positive transfer greatly depends upon the presence of identical elements between the original and subsequent. Positive transfer. Number 1, learning. Number 2, attention. Number 3, process. Number 4, perception. In new situation of learning and in old learning, if some common element will be there, then positive transfer will be done. So option number 1, learning, is correct. Question number 20, last question of this video. Bilateral transfer is also called, let us see, training program. Number 2, positive transfer. Number 3, negative transfer. Number 4, cross education. Bilateral transfer is also called cross education. So friends, here the video number 1 is over. Video number 2 will be presented shortly. Till then, keep on studying supplementary literature. We will meet again.